So how do you find your purpose after getting sober? Let's find out. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode here at Sobriety University. On this channel we talk about addiction and recovery related topics. My name is Joel, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to find your purpose after getting sober. Now we're going to break this video up into a couple parts. First is going to be inner versus outer purpose, and then we're going to go into details on ways you can find your actual purpose that you want to fulfill in life. So I think this is a really important topic because I know personally when I quit, after a while I started to feel a bit lost. Like, okay, I quit the addiction, I wasn't kind of consumed by it anymore. However, I knew that I had to do something with my life, or else I was just gonna, sit on the couch and kind of wither away. Like, that didn't sound like a very fulfilling life, especially after all the work I put in quitting the addiction. And so people, I think, can be left in a sense of like limbo. And at some point it's like, okay, how do I better my life and find something that I'm passionate about? All right, so before we begin, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know down below what you think your outer purpose is. The first thing we're going to talk about is inner versus outer purpose. And this concept comes from Eckhart Tolle. You might have heard of him. He wrote The Power of Now. And he's kind of like a spiritual master that talks about presence and how, I guess not how to be enlightened, but how to live a more conscious life. And so he talks about how we have an inner and an outer purpose. And you can kind of use, common sense here to figure out what that might mean. The inner purpose is finding out who we are beyond like the ego, beyond the form identity, which is everything on the outside, beyond our body, beyond our thoughts and emotions. And that's kind of what I think quitting addiction can help us find, is that inner purpose. That inner self is kind of like the common phrase used now in pop culture. So the outer purpose is going to be relationships, finances, career, all that stuff. And what he really helped me realize is that we can't just have one or the other. Like, they have to come together in harmony. And so for any of you that are Christian or whatever, I personally am not anymore. However, I do appreciate some of the teachings from the religion. And so the idea is that with the sign of the cross, it's the embodiment of the outer purpose, which is the cross here, the horizontal, and then the inner purpose, which is the vertical. And together they come and they meet at the point where Jesus hung. And essentially that is saying that Jesus embodied the inner and the outer purpose so well that, you know who he was. He was the man himself, Jesus. And so ideally what Christianity is trying to get at is that finding God is finding that point where Jesus was in that middle, where the outer and then the inner is perfectly aligned. Now, this is obviously very difficult, and I think it's been construed a little bit to the idea that God is this dude sitting on a chair in the sky that just casts judgment on everyone, which I don't think is true, but hey, who knows, it might be. So that is the inner and that is the outer purpose. So this video going forward here is really going to be about finding that outer purpose. And we'll make a video in the future about the inner purpose because that's very important too, obviously. Again, you can't have one without the other. So how do you find your outer purpose? Because this has been a journey that I've been on for the last few years, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been quite difficult. It was almost easier to find the inner purpose than the outer purpose. I don't know why, it's easier to be within myself than to do things out in the world. I really have to push myself to kind of get outside the comfort zone. And so that is essentially what finding the outer purpose is finding that one thing, or it can be multiple things, it can be always changing, that really lights your soul. And so the first thing I recommend doing is kind of writing all your passions and hobbies in a journal. Writing is a really powerful exercise that can help get things out of the head and like into physical form. And I find that just helps it stop swimming around in the head so much. So once it's out of the head, I kind of analyze, okay, what are practical things that I could do in this life that can make me money? Because again, like, as much as I'd like to do something like make music all day and just survive, I have to monetize it somehow. So music was my outer purpose for a very long time, for about 8 years. It was really one of the reasons why I quit using marijuana, because I knew that if I wanted to have a career in this, I couldn't be just stoned all the time. I had to be sharp. I wanted to be good at it. And so I quit marijuana and I really started on the path of music. I put a lot of effort into it. Guys, it just didn't work out. You might hear some of the songs in the intro videos. That is music I make. So it's still a fun hobby. However, it's no longer going to be a lifelong career passion. Just the industry has changed. It's a lot harder to make money out of it, and I'm like, I don't really want to be 10 years from now in my studio apartment making beats. It's not something that's appealing to me. I want to have relationships, I want to have money, be able to travel. I can't do that when I'm kind of chasing this dream. So I had to let it go, and in turn, find some other things to do. So a point I want to make is that the outer purpose that we think we're supposed to do here and now might not come to fruition. And that's a tough lesson I had to learn, because I thought, okay, this music, I love it, I'm passionate about it, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And then there, it's time to transition to other avenues. And so if you're in that situation, comment down below, because I know it can be kind of stressful to be like, wow, I just put so much time and effort into this thing, and it's not yielding any benefits. Kind of the same with like quitting addiction. Sometimes it can get kind of frustrating when I've tried to quit so many times and I'm still stuck in with the joint in my hand. It's like, damn it. So got to move forward, got to keep looking up, and trust that the universe is going to put things in your life that are going to give you signals that, hey, this might be something worth pursuing. So the tangible piece of advice here is to listen to the signs of the universe, because it will give you hints on what you should be doing or what the wise decision going forward would be. Again, it might not pan out long term, however, it might lead to something else. So for example, this spring I decided to get into real estate. I got the course, I took the prep or whatever. It took about a month to get through. I busted ass, so I worked really hard at it. I studied, I had a stack of flashcards like this high. And I took the exam. And I get to the exam, and I sit down, it's on a computer, and I look at the first question, and I had no idea what the hell it meant. Zero clue. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. I put all this work into studying, and here I was, another dead end. So I'm sitting through the exam, and I'm like, okay, I got to find something else to do with my life here. The real estate, I gave it a shot. It's not going to work out. Hey, that's okay. You gave it 100%. And then the thought came, you know, if I made a YouTube video for the next day, for the next year, I imagine that financially, I could be pretty close to where I'd be had I succeeded in real estate. Now, the irony was that I finished the exam and I passed. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, so cool. So I don't even have to worry about that anymore. And I kept on making YouTube videos like once every couple weeks, every 3 weeks. And then I'm like, all right, I'm all in real estate. Awesome. I found my outer purpose, finally. And I get a course for the real estate, like a coach. I go all in, I give it 100%, and then the market starts to crash. It becomes fall, so people stop buying, people stop selling. And I'm like, you kidding me? You kidding me? I finally found my purpose. And here the market's crashing and real estate's pretty much a dead end for now. Now maybe it'll pick up later, who knows? I'm like, you kidding me? I finally found my purpose, and here we are back at square one. Now, what happened though was that, like I said, listening to the universe, I remembered that thought that I got in the middle of the exam when I thought, you know, my life was over, that, hey, why don't you make a YouTube video every day for the next year? And I was like, you know, that's a big ask. However, universe, I hear you. And I'm going to start stepping it up. And as you might have seen, there's been a lot more YouTube videos in the last couple months. And that was because I listened to the universe. I listened to that intuition that said, hey, give this a real shot. Maybe you can tackle the real estate again later if it picks up. However, for now, this is your outer purpose, man, and I want you to go 100%. And this is one of the tough parts about being in reality, being without drugs and alcohol and having to face the real world, is that we get signals, we don't often get the result. We have to put work into it. And for a long time, most of my life, I never put the work into stuff. I did the bare minimum, I scooted by, and it did work for a time. However, when it came to creating something just really great, it never panned out because I never was willing to put in the work. Now, after having gone through this a few times, trust me, I'm willing to hear these signs in the universe and say, okay, I'm listening now. I ignored you too many times and I saw the consequences. It's time to pay attention. And so that's what I did. That's where we are now. And so the lesson behind this story is to pay attention, to really be on the lookout for those signs. And that's why quitting addiction can really help in this because it can clear up that mental bandwidth that would have been spent obsessing over the drugs and alcohol and starting to hear what the universe, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever you believe in, has in store for you. So the next step here is going to be asking friends, families, loved ones what a good career path, outer life purpose might be. Like, hey, man, when you see me, what do you see me doing in the next 5-10 years? Because it can be easy to get in our own head and kind of get diluted with our own experiences, judgments, emotions, our own ego, and it can be hard to see ourselves from an objective view. And sometimes having that objective view can be exactly what you need to kind of be like, oh, right, like 6 people told me that this might be something worth getting into. You know, again, listening to the signs, maybe this is something to get into. Maybe they're not wrong here. And now this doesn't always work because sometimes someone might say one thing, another person might say another thing. Something I found very helpful is to get a coach in a certain area. You can pay for them online. I do have coaching available as well, Sobriety one-on-one coaching. Together you and I will work personally to help you get through your first 30 days sober and beyond. And if I find out we're not a good fit for each other or you decide you want to work elsewhere, I have other resources I can connect you with. So if you're interested, feel free to apply down below. First 5 people are going to get coaching for free, like the first session for free, in exchange for a testimonial. I also have a weekly video that you can purchase where I make a video answering any question and I send it to you personally. It doesn't have to go on YouTube, but if you want it to, it can for sure. So guys, sign up down below. Link will be in the description. And having a coach has been so helpful in just kind of getting the crud out of my head that is blocking me from taking action in a certain step. With the YouTube, having a coach really helped me just kind of find out exactly what I needed to do it very quickly. So I didn't have to waste time like figuring out like, is this the best strategy? Is this the best strategy? I'm like, okay, this is the strategy that worked for them pretty damn well. I'm all in. Same with dating. Got a dating coach and they would just help me kind of shift through all the crud and all the blocks and all the confusion I had around dating. And it really helped me streamline the process and get dates a lot quicker. Real estate, for example, that was another one where, of course, that didn't work out because of the market. However, his advice was very sound. So this is, I'm definitely not knocking the coach here. They did a great job. And even in recovery, I've had coaches and have coaches for every addiction: food, alcohol, marijuana, all that I had a coach for, codependency. And that's like my current coach. And it's been just an invaluable resource because, is that the right word? Because just being able to have someone who's been through it, who's way further along in the journey, to just be like, hey man, this is what I recommend doing, it's worked for me, and if you do it, you might save years of your life. So that's essentially the purpose of getting a coach. And they might point you in a direction that you might not have been able to discover by your own. So same thing here with the dating coach. So I worked with a guy, Trip Advice. He has like a huge YouTube channel, like 1 million subscribers. I imagine you know who he is if you were to look at him. So towards the end of our sessions, I started to ask him about YouTube and how he grew his channel, etc. And he started to give me some really good tips for people in the beginning. So 3 videos a week for the next 1.5 years. And that's how long it took him to start being able to make a full-time living on it. I was like, damn, that doesn't seem too bad. Holy shit. I'm hearing again from the advice from someone who has 1 million subscribers. They've obviously know what they're doing because the evidence proves it. And I wouldn't have never learned that had I not signed up for this dating coach. So it's crazy how one thing can lead to another. And it's just, again, listening to the signs, listening to when the universe is telling you to do something. Okay, so guys, with that, we're gonna end the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let us know in the comments down below what your outer purpose is and how you're finding it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Peace.